What's good? My name is Cole and welcome back to another video, and today we're going over our first draft profile of the 2021 offseason. And today we're going over Alabama quarterback Mac Jones and see if he should be drafted here from Washington football team in like the first, second round if he's available. And after watching this video, after going over what you think and what you've seen, do you think Washington should take him if he's available in the first, possibly even second round? So let's go over here Mac Jones. Now go over in his stats. 2018 he got limited play, but in 2019 was really his first time really getting in at being the starting quarterback. Obviously because of the Tua injury, he got a few games there. He had 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on the few games he did play. He had 141 attempts or 97 completions. So he played pretty solid over in those times. The obviously chances in the games he got a chance to play in, obviously because of Tua injury. I stumbled on my words there, but Mac Jones got a good shot there in 2019. He took full advantage of it and he improved. He got obviously to start in 2020, and obviously he led Alabama to the national championship here, going 41 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions on 4,500 yards this season, and completion percentage of 77.4. He played absolutely amazing this year, and he had a heck of a season. And so this man, when you look at it, this man looks to be a great quarterback. He looks to be a top 3 quarterback. Obviously in lots of drafts you feel like he would probably be like a top 3 quarterback in lots of drafts, but I mean, when you look at this draft, he's my right now 5th quarterback in this draft. So it's very interesting to see where he goes right now. It's super interesting. So let's go over this pros and cons for Mac Jones. So starting with the pros, man, right here is pocket presence. I mean, he knows, when the pocket is not necessarily collapsing, but when somebody is coming from behind him or someone's coming from in front of him, when, someone, the man's coming, he knows when to step back, he knows when to step forward. And if he needs to, get outside, he can do that. And that's something I really like about Mac Jones there in that sense. So absolutely love in that way that pocket presence of Mac Jones. So that's something right there in the pros that I absolutely like. Next is that anticipation when he gets that throw off. He knows where the guy is going, and he's throwing the ball right where the receiver is going. He leads obviously the receiver, and he makes throws, and that's again something you want to see in your quarterback, and that's something Mac Jones I think he does perfectly. And that's what you like to see obviously in your quarterback, and that's what you want, is something you get, and he does it. And then when you go with that anticipation, you get the accuracy from Mac Jones, which is good. And his accuracy with his deep balls, his accuracy when it comes to these short medium routes, it does. I do like it. Now again, I don't think we've seen too many necessarily deep pocket or tight spiral throws, but I mean at the same time the accuracy is still there when it comes to these lofty balls, and these ones that he has to still sling it, but not necessarily sling it like you see Josh Allen do with Stephon Diggs. But again, I like lots of these pros here with Mac Jones, and he has a lot of talent there when it comes to his throwing and mechanics when it comes also to Mac Jones. Now going to his cons, and I think especially when it comes to his cons, scares me a lot when it comes to Washington. Again, Washington. We're talking about Washington. We're not talking about the Colts with a good offensive line. We're not talking about the Patriots again with a good offensive line. We're talking about Washington. His mobility. I mean, he's not the he's obviously not the mobilist, I guess. He's not the most athletic quarterback, obviously. I mean, he's not no Trey Lance, he's not no Zach Wilson, not no Justin Fields, but he's obviously not no Kyle Trask. He's not a statue back there. But again, he's not no Justin Fields, who scrambles. But I mean, he can get out there if he really, really, really needs to. He can. But that's not his first, or that's not really his first or second option when things start to break down. He's still looking for that pass instead of running, obviously, with his mobility. And then obviously when you come to improv, you don't necessarily see that improv when things are gonna break down. And that's what we see from Heineke, obviously. we saw these things from Taylor Heineke that were so good, and that's what we like to see. And you're not gonna get that with Mac Jones, especially if when that the offensive line is gonna break down. You don't have necessarily a good offensive line now. We have a solid offensive line. Necessarily when things hold up, you're gonna have time to make throws. But when things break down, when you're playing bad, good defensive lines, it's not always gonna work out, and he's probably gonna get sacked. There's gonna be games where he's gonna be sacked probably like 5 times with this offensive line. So it's not always the best. But again, not necessarily. Yeah. Then next, the Obama effect in quotation marks. Now what am I saying when I mean Obama effect? Now it's obviously because you have so much talent when you come from a top end school. I mean, is it because you're making the other talents good, the other players good, or is it because the other players are so talented they're making you good? And that's the problem that you got to figure out here with Mac Jones is what's the situation here? Are you good enough to where you're making everybody else good, or are they good to where you're making to where they are making you good, or making you look good? So obviously with Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, both first round prospects, draft prospects, and they're probably both gonna go top 15, at least top 20. So it's very interesting. And when you have a good offensive line, have we have probably a tackle who's gonna go in the first round, Alex Leatherwood. It comes very risky when you have, not necessarily risky, it comes with this. And again, I know this is necessarily not a con, but this is why it's the last on my cons list, because it's necessarily a concern, because do you want to take that chance? But obviously we see with Tua, maybe if you get talent around him, maybe he'll do good. It's really what you're gonna see from him. So again, it's gonna be super interesting with Mac Jones, and I'm intrigued of what he brings to the table as a quarterback, and what he's gonna bring. So now, what does this mean for Washington? Does he fit Washington? Now, I don't want to draft him in the first round. Okay? But if he's available in the second round, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Especially if we draft an offensive tackle like a Christian Darrisaw or a Samuel Cosme, or maybe even like a guard, if really, or like a Wyatt Davis. We put the left guard, and Cornelius Lucas, Jaron Christian, or C.D. Charles come back and they play left tackle and they're fine. If that happens. But again, first round, I don't want that. I don't want to draft a quarterback in the first round unless it's one of those top 4 quarterbacks, Trevor Lawrence, which I don't think is obviously going to happen. Don't think Justin Fields is going to happen. And I don't think Zach Wilson's going to happen. I think the only one that's likely to fall possibly is Trey Lance. And if that does happen, fine. But I don't want to take any other quarterback, and that's obviously including Mac Jones. I don't want Mac Jones in the first. Second round, I'm fine. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Again, that gets another quarterback in the room to have competition with, possibly Alex Smith, probably Taylor Heineke. We'll see with Kyle Allen. And, it's really what you're going to do there. Do we draft him? Do we not? It's going to be super interesting. So I want to know what you guys think about Mac Jones. Should we draft him in the first round? Should we draft him in the second round if he's available? What do you guys think we should do with Mac Jones? So again, this is only first of many draft profiles. Probably going to have the next one, another quarterback that I think I would say I'm intrigued. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. My name is Cole, and I'm setting out. Peace.